What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the Week 8 of the Premier League predictions. I want to give a massive shout out to FJ Rizark, who left their prediction for the 10 games of last weekend in the comments down below and correctly predicted the West Ham Man United game. Congratulations to you. Shout out to you, my man. If you want to be featured in the next week of Premier League predictions, which will be in 2 weeks' time because of the international break coming out, then be sure to leave your comment down below with your predictions for this weekend's games. Before we get into Week 8, let's go back to Week 7 and see how I did with my predictions. So if we just go down the list of results on the screen, although they're in reverse chronological order, Bournemouth Crystal Palace ended in 2-1 thanks to a late penalty. I predicted 1-1, so not too bad. Cardiff Burnley ended 2-1 to Burnley. I predicted 3-1 to Burnley, so again, not too bad. Moving on, we have West Ham 3, Man United 1. I actually predicted a 2-1 win to United. No one really saw the West Ham win. I say no one. Not many people saw the West Ham win coming. Wolves, I did say they could potentially win 2 or 3-0, but predicted a 1-0 win, and they actually did get the 2-0, so that was a solid performance for Wolves. The Newcastle-Leicester game, I thought Newcastle would get something out of it, would get a point with the 1-1, but they didn't. It was 2-0. I thought City would beat Brighton 4-1. They only won 2-0. Spurs, I thought would score 3 goals against Huddersfield. They only scored 2 in the 2-0 win. Another absolute shocker from me. I thought Fulham would beat Everton 2-1. It was actually 3-0 to Everton. I definitely think I overestimated Fulham. I could have done a little bit more research, perhaps. Everton absolutely thrashed them. Arsenal Watford, I predicted a 2-1 and it was 2-0, and then Chelsea and Liverpool I predicted 2-2 and it was actually 1-1. So not a terrible performance for the week, but not the best, and I'm hoping we can do better this time round. So coming up, first of all, we have Brighton versus West Ham at Brighton. West Ham are looking very, very good. Brighton are looking very, very average, to say the least. I think West Ham are, with their attacking power, going to clinch the victory. I'm going with a 2-1 win to West Ham. Moving on, we have Burnley to host Huddersfield. Huddersfield arguably have been the worst performing team in the league. I think they're sort of joint bottom really with Cardiff, but I think Cardiff have shown a lot more. They put a lot of heart into the Arsenal game that they unfortunately got nothing out of, and arguably should have got at least a point out of the game against Burnley. So I think Huddersfield are going to keep struggling, and I think Burnley are going to win this one fairly easily with a 2-0 win. Moving on, we have Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Again, just like last week, I predicted Wolves to win 1-0. I'm predicting Wolves to win 1-0 again, and just like last week, Wolves could win 2-0, 3-0 like I said. It could be 2-1, could be 3-1. Either way, whatever happens, I think Wolves are going to get the win, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going with a 1-0. Moving on to Leicester versus Everton. Leicester and Everton are both pretty inconsistent. Sometimes perform very well, sometimes don't perform particularly well. Leicester obviously lost 4-2 to Bournemouth. Everton lost 3-1 to West Ham. Then Leicester went and won their last game, I think it was. Yeah, Leicester beat Newcastle 2-0. Everton beat Fulham 3-0. So they're coming off of a good win, but they're very inconsistent. I think both teams are going to score, and I'm going with a home win to Leicester, 2-1. The next game is Tottenham Hotspur versus Cardiff. Now, Tottenham have been affected by injuries lately, and Cardiff, they're not tragic, but they are definitely struggling. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Tottenham. So the same prediction that I had for the Tottenham Huddersfield game, just with Cardiff scoring 1 as opposed to Huddersfield not scoring, because I do think Cardiff are that little bit better. The next game, Watford versus Bournemouth, kind of an upper table clash at this point. I'm pretty sure they are 6th and 7th, and I do think Watford at home are going to be a little bit too strong for Bournemouth on the attack. However, Bournemouth do play good counter-attacking football, so I think they are going to get a goal in, and it's going to be 2-1 to Watford. The next game, Man United versus Newcastle. I know there's a big game of Liverpool Man City coming up later on, but this could be big. If Man United lose to Newcastle at Old Trafford, that is the final nail in the coffin for Jose Mourinho. They drew 0-0 with Valencia. They should have got the win. They should have taken their chances, but they didn't. They lost to West Ham. They got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Derby. So they're in a very sketchy time period. If Man United win, Mourinho will probably just sort of stick around for a little bit longer, because they just don't seem to want to really get rid of him at Man United. I don't really know what's going on. I've predicted Man United to win this one with 3-1. Okay, some people, I've seen quite a few draws predicted. I've even seen Newcastle possibly getting something out of it, but I'm going to stick with it. Man United, not only do they have to win this game, they should win this game. Newcastle are struggling. They're one of the 3 winless teams in the Premier League this year. It's going to be a Man United win, and I'm going with 3-1. If not, that is the end of Mourinho in my opinion. Coming up next, we have Fulham versus Arsenal at Fulham. So it's going to be an interesting one, but I do think Arsenal, they're on such good form. They're really, really strong, and obviously Lacazette and Aubameyang are doing really, really well for them. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Arsenal win, leaving Fulham very, very close to the relegation zone, certainly in that little battle. Similar story coming up for Southampton, who lost 2-0 last week to Wolves. It's Southampton versus Chelsea, and I'm going to go with a convincing 3-0 win to Chelsea. Chelsea are on solid form. They obviously beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. They drew with Liverpool on the weekend, and honestly, Chelsea could have easily won that game had it not been for the late equaliser of Daniel Sturridge, which was an absolutely monstrous goal. Honestly, I think Liverpool have been doing amazing this season, but I do think it's getting to the stage where they're slightly overrated. They can't perform the way everyone expects them to perform every week, and that is why for the final game, Liverpool versus Man City, a game that I have seen a lot of people predict a Liverpool victory. Yes, Liverpool are at Anfield. They don't usually lose, but I'm going for a Manchester City win to put City at the top of the table. I don't think Kevin De Bruyne is back from injury yet, but I think he should be returning after international break. I think Liverpool have just missed out on having to deal with Kevin De Bruyne, but I do think Man City are going to win this 2-1. They're so solid. Their squad is... They have got a better squad depth than Liverpool, I would say. And although Liverpool are good, it's going to be a great game. It could easily be a draw. Liverpool may nick it, but there's just something telling me that Man City are going to be top of the league after this weekend, and the only way I see that happening is with a Man City win. So I'm going for a 2-1 to Man City. I have put a little note here. I put a potential draw, despite my predictions, because I didn't predict a draw this week. I don't like to predict draws. I picked a potential draw for West Ham versus Brighton. Alright, someone doing mad revs outside. A potential draw for West Ham versus Brighton, which I predicted 2-1 to West Ham. A potential draw for Liverpool Man City, which I predicted 2-1 to Man City. And a potential draw for Leicester versus Everton, in which I predicted a 2-1 win to Leicester. So I've got a little bit of leeway with those predictions, but that's what I'm going with. So just a quick recap. West Ham 2, Brighton 1, Burnley 2, Huddersfield 0, Wolves 1, Palace 0, Leicester 2, Everton 1, Tottenham 3, Cardiff 1, Watford 2, Bournemouth 1, Man United 3, Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2, Fulham 0, Chelsea 3, Southampton 0, Man City 2, and Liverpool 1. Let me know what you thought of my predictions down in the comments below, and of course, let me know your predictions, and we'll have a little chat about them. I love reading the comments, and thank you for the support on this channel, the views on the last video, the ratings, the likes. We just passed 1,200 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. So either way, that is going to do it for this predictions video. The next video, as it is international break coming up, should be a UEFA Nations League video, which is going to be interesting. So yeah, I will see you in the next video very soon.